المداخلة الثانية ستكون مداخلة لشخصي المتواضع، وهي تحت عنوان رياضة المستوى العالي، الاستراتيجيات والمتطلبات. وسننهي الحصة الثالثة بمداخلة تعرض النموذج أكاديمية أسباير، وسيقدمها الزميل العزيز الأستاذ بدر جاسم الحاي. لمحة على الأستاذ إدريس شارتمان، أستاذ باحث في علوم الرياضة من جامعة لايبزيغ الألماني، له عدة بحوث دقيقة في علوم الرياضة، وهو خبير دولي في مجال رياضة المستوى العالي. الأستاذ بدر جاسم هو خبير كذلك قطري في مجال الرياضة، اشتغل كثير في من مؤسسي يعني أكاديمية أسباير، وهو الحين مدير التعليم ورعاية الطلاب بأكاديمية أسباير، ويتحدث لنا إن شاء الله في المداخلة الثالثة على النموذج القطري. أستضيف الأستاذ إدريس شارتمان والأستاذ بدر للالتحاق بالمنصة، وسنبدأ الحصة بمداخلة الأستاذ إدريس شارتمان.
Honorable Minister, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, at first thank you very much for being here and having a chance to give my expertise and to share my knowledge with you. So I was asked, because I'm a professor at the university, to give an idea about that what the duty is of a university in the field of performance of top elite sports. And this is what I'm now doing for about 35 years in Germany, working as a university, working together with federations and trying to support athletes and also the universities. So, what is it where we have to speak about? I think there are in total 3 important points. At first, we have to speak a few minutes about the structural aspects in general. Second, we have to speak about the given time frames referring to education and to training, especially in connection with the university. And third, we have to speak a few minutes about the different roles and the self-image of a university, which is to my opinion very important. So let's look at first to those 5 points I want to bring you a little bit more close. At first, I want to give a short prologue referred to the given time frames. Second, I want to speak about the role of education. Third, I want to do some remarks about the role of science and research at the university. Fourth, to give just a few seconds a point about the role of scientific support of the universities. And last but not least, the role of the university in the structure in that what we have in Germany. I do not want to focus this only on Germany, because this is just how it works into the structure of Germany, but I want to give you the general idea what stands behind, that you can find a solution what you can use here in Oman. A short summary, and that's it. Okay. So let's start with the first point, with what I called a prologue, a third, to the time frame, what stands behind. And I think this is quite important as a general knowledge in this field. So when you look to the red lines, that gives you an idea about that time when kids in Germany, in Europe, start to be involved in something like sport. This is not a regular training in the beginning with a special focus on top elite sport. It is just the age when they start. And you see 2 lines. M is for the male, F is for the female. You see one number and another one. The other one is the standard deviation, and the other one is the age in years when they normally start to be involved in such a kind of organized doing exercise physical education. This is not what I would call something like a regular training, which starts, to my opinion, when they do at least 3 times per week, a regular exercising, but this is when they start. So when you look to the next one, there it's written duration, still the level of high performance. That means, doesn't matter from the gender, that you need at least about 8 to 10 years to come to a special level of performance. And this is quite a long time. So when you take into account that they start in the age between 8 to 10 years, then it takes another 10 years of regular and more specified training. This is also the time we have to focus on when we speak about the universities. I will come on to this point later. So the green lines give you some ideas about that, what is going on until they reach the junior level. And the last one, the blue lines, this is the time frame until kids, young talented athletes, come to the level of their maximum individual performance. And when you look to those lines, you find years in the range between 15 and 20 years. That means especially when you watch 2 ball games, it takes quite a long time. It takes between 15 to 20 years to develop a good player in a ball game. That means they start when they are in the age of 8 and 10, but then it takes until they are in the range of about 30 years old, 25 to 30 years old, to be developed as an excellent player on the international level. And just in this time frame, there is the time what I have to take into account. This is the time where they go to university, and then they get this problem of the educational career and the career in sports science or the career in the training science. So this is quite a long frame or a wide frame what we have to take into account. So we have to summarize already just by watching this picture. It takes a very long time to develop a good athlete. Of course, you can find sometimes athletes who only need shorter times, but these are only a few talented athletes. If you look at over a wider span or for a great amount of persons, then you have to take these years into account. So another specificity, what we have in Europe, and especially also in Germany, that means that we have especially the club, school, and also the university system, which is something as the roots for high-performance sports. So we have tried to arrange into the schools, into the universities, into the clubs, that getting from these roots, we can develop the athletes over the time. When we watch especially to the universities, then we have to say the academic education is embedded between the school time and the individual occupation and the career. And this gives a lot of problems to many of the athletes because they want to follow their career as an athlete, but on the other side, they have to be developed in their occupation and in their study for being a sophisticated person later on in the profession and in the job. But this time is only a time which is lasting about 3 to 5 years embedded between. But this is, as I already mentioned, the time for the high performance development and for the high performance training. And when I speak about this, then I speak about the training, what is done normally twice per day in the amount of about 12 to 15 training sessions all over the week. And this is quite difficult to get under a good organized schedule. And this is what we also have seen in the last years in Germany, and therefore we developed a model, and we call this model the dual career. That means the universities and also the athletes, the federation and the clubs, they have to work together to provide a good opportunity on the one side for the education and on the other side for the possibilities to do a lot of training. So we come to the second point, to the role of education, what stands behind. So the dual career, what I already mentioned, is only to realize in a well-developed structure where the athletes get necessary support to fulfill all aspects of education, training, and organizational commitments by the help of the different other institutions. And this has led to a lot of additional help by other institutions like the Olympic centers, what we have in Germany. We have 16 of those, and they especially have the intention to help the athletes for their career at the university, for the profession, and in combination with the training and with the training proceedings. So to push the universities a little bit more into this responsibility was not simple. So in the beginning, the universities denied a little bit of it. But then it was also a slightly political pressure that the universities started to identify themselves to that what we have now as a logo or as a special branch, as a partner university of top elite sports. So now several of the universities, they have a big logo on their front side which mentioned we are a partner university of elite sports. That means we take into account that we have those students who also want to fulfill their job for their later profession, and also they have to combine it with their amount of training. That means also that in the past, in the last 10 years, the universities had to adapt their curricula. And it was not an easy job, what has been done, either by the universities and also by the side of the politics. They had to adapt the class schedules, and they had also to adapt the examination time schedules in the necessities to the training and competition of top elite sports. This has led in the past to the possibility that sometimes teachers are going with those athletes in a training camp then when they are 4 or 5 weeks out of the normal business in a training camp, and that they get regular schooling, especially and parallel, during the training in a training camp. But in the beginning, I mentioned the universities were very skeptical about this. But now it has seen and shown that this also was a win-win situation for profiling themselves. Today, the universities are proud that they did this. And so we have to say we have about 106 universities all over Germany, but 63 have a degree program with a relation to sport. That makes it now and today much more easy. So in the moment, I would say, it is not the sport, something like a ballast or a stop block, but it is something like a driving force. And I have to say, we already in the moment have universities which are looking and fishing for athletes. They are really asking the athletes, why don't you come to our university to be involved there? We give you a lot of support and a lot of help, but you come to us. Because this is very nice to have it also on the homepage that the university later can say on, we educated this very successful athlete. Of course, we have to say many of the active athletes are studying subjects which have a relation to sport. This is quite normal because this is also in the aim and in the intention of the special athletes and also a bit of the universities. And last but not least, it has a strong link to the coach education system, because nowadays we starting some programs that even during the study the athletes can start, if they are interested in it, to get a license as a coach, what they can use immediately after the studying for being involved as a scientist or something as an assistant coach in the beginning in the field of top elite sports. So I come to the third point, the role of science and research, which is also a role of the university. Now, I only want to focus on this picture in a very rough way. One of the main questions in top elite sports is, how does an athlete adapt? How does the muscles adapt? And this is not a question where the federations are dealing with this. These are very basic biological and physiological questions. And those questions, they are one of the main aspects what are done in the research aspects at the university. That means, beside being a location for education at the universities, real basic research is done. But of course, you need equipment at the universities, you need laboratory at the universities, and this is something, as an example, what is going on at the universities when you are focusing to basic aspects of research and to basic aspects of physiology. Or another example, high altitude is something what is very often mentioned to increase the performance of an athlete. The aim is to get some areas where you still have some development of performance. But the question is, how does it really work on the cellular level, on the muscular level with the high altitude training? What are the basic effects? What stands behind? And this is something what not a federation can do, what not the sport federation can do. This is a question which is very much related to physiology and sports medicine. This is done at a university. And this is also the role of the university in the field of top elite sports. Besides this role of research with basic aspects, there's also the role of the scientific support by the universities. So what do I mean with this? So I mean, if you have, or if you're running training programs in rowing, in canoeing, in cycling, in running, even in soccer, so this can be monitored in a side, not by a federation, not by the other institutions. Therefore, you need quite well equipped laboratories and possibilities. And this is what you normally can find at the universities. This is not only related to top elite sports, this is also related to leisure sports and to health sports. And the question is very often related to additional works, as in the field of computer science in sport and exercise physiology. So beside the field of basic research in the university, you also have the necessity to do some work in applied performance as something like a routine work. So let's just imagine you want to document the training of training groups which are quite close to the university or to the faculty where you are working. Then this is what I mentioned, what a university easily can do. They can take blood samples, they can take heart rates, they can take the monitoring of the training nearly every day, which is very much related to those groups which are in the region where the university is. And they do not have to do it every day or every week. They also can do it every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks, whenever it is necessary. It is something like a routine work where the sport and sports science is supported by the help of the universities. Now we come to the last point, how the universities are embedded in the structure of the German sports system. I just show you this picture and this graph at all. So the universities are that what is written in the blue box. They are on a quite overestimating level, and they try to support the coaches academy, the different national bodies, the Olympic support centers and the federal training centers. And it is depending very much of the intention and the knowledge of the professor and of the group who is working in the university, with which partners he is doing a collaboration and a close work. But nevertheless, it is very much supported by the German Olympic Sport Confederation, and also I myself get a lot of funding by the German Olympic Sport Federation with the intention to support that sport what is in the region or in the area just around the University of Leipzig. But nevertheless, the basis where we are looking for the talents, these are the sport clubs and these are the schools. So we have to summarize that, what I just tried to bring over in a very brief manner. We have the universities, they have their job. We have to adapt the structure to that system what we have. And this is also what I would recommend to other people and federations who are interested in this. Also to your society, it's necessary to bring the universities or other scientific institutions into that boat to come to an identification to work together for the development of top elite sports. There's no question at all, the university is a very, very important field where education, higher education is done, and also science and research, what is done regularly. But you only can do it if you all sit together at a round table and you look how you can find your benefit under your structure and under your given conditions for the development of the training for high elite sport in your country and in your group. Okay, that was it in a very short. Thank you very much for the intention. There's much more to do.
شكرا أستاذ أرتمان على المداخلة القيمة اللي تقدم بها، وخاصة اللي يبين من خلالها دور الجامعة وخاصة البحوث العلمية الدقيقة المتطورة واللي بتصدي خدمات جليلة للرفع من الرياضة، وخاصة في مستوى متقدم جدا. لابد كونه الجامعة تعطي يعني تدلي بدلوها للفنيين والمدربين والاتحادات ببحوث علمية دقيقة اللي من شأنها أن تتمكن الرياضيين من بلوغ المستوى العالي. شكرا. ثانك يو. تفضل أستاذ. إذا المداخلة الثانية ستكون مداخلة حول استراتيجيات رياضة المستوى العالي، من خلال تقديم دراسة لبعض استراتيجيات الدول المتقدمة والمتطلبات. إذا في انتظار يعني العرض المرئي، إذن هي مداخلتي تكون تحت عنوان رياضة المستوى العالي، الاستراتيجيات والمتطلبات. في الحقيقة المداخلة ستكون عرض لدراسات لثلاث نماذج معتمدة في العالم، نماذج مشهود بنتائجها على المستوى الدولي، هي النموذج الألماني، النموذج الأسترالي، النموذج البريطاني. والهدف من استعراض هذه النماذج هو يعني استخلاص الاستنتاجات اللي ممكن تكون، ولكن من الأكيد وليس ممكن، أكيد كونها تكون مهمة جدا لتطوير المنظومة الرياضية في سلطنة عمان، وهذا يعني بحكم موقعي كخبير بأكاديمية سلطان قابوس. وفي الأخير يعني نشوف كيف نستعمل هذه الاستنتاجات لكي نطور من المنظومة الرياضية. ثلاث ملاحظات هامة قبل أن أبدأ العرض. الملاحظة الأولى كون كل الاستراتيجيات الرياضية في رياضة المستوى العالي هي استراتيجيات تتبناها الدولة وتشارك فيها كل الهيئات الحكومية والغير الحكومية من أجل تحقيق الأهداف. الملاحظة الثانية مهمة كذلك، هي ملاحظة حول ليس هناك استراتيجية ناجعة في المطلق، بل هناك استراتيجيات ناجعة، لأن كل استراتيجية لابد أن تأخذ بعين الاعتبار الخصوصيات الديموغرافية، الخصوصيات الاجتماعية، الخصوصيات الثقافية والرياضية. إذا نجاعة الاستراتيجية في حد ذاتها لابد تستمد نجاعتها كل استراتيجية من أخذها بعين الاعتبار بكل خصوصيات للبلد المعني. إذا ليس من الممكن أن نأخذ استراتيجية مثلى ونطبقها في بلد من غير أن تقع ملائمتها بحسب الخصوصيات، هذا مهم جدا. وثالثا النقطة الثالثة هو كون الاستراتيجيات اللي بقدمها هي استراتيجيات يمكن تعميمها على كل الرياضات، ولكن هي استراتيجيات تركز أكثر على الرياضات الفردية. أبدأ بالاستراتيجية الألمانية. إذا الاستراتيجية الألمانية بصفة برقية يستهدف النموذج الألماني الرياضيين من طلبة المدارس والجامعات، واستهداف الرياضيين هذا حيث يوجد بألمانيا العديد من مراكز أقطاب موارد تغطي كامل البلاد، وهي تعنى باستكشاف وتوجيه المواهب الرياضية وتحديد الخصوصيات الرياضية للفرد، بحيث يكون المشروع الرياضي هو مشروع متكامل، مشروع رياضي وتربوي يقع من خلاله تحديد المتطلبات من طرف الخبراء والمدربين للوصول إلى النتائج المرجوة. إذن يقوم النموذج الألماني أساسا على 3 محطات رئيسية: تحديد الاحتياجات الخصوصية الفردية لكل رياضي مستهدف، الاستفادة من المراكز والموارد المتاحة، وهذا مهم جدا عن طريق مراكز أقطاب الموارد الموجودة موزعة على كل البلد، ومتابعة رياضيين في أقرب مكان من مقر سكنهم الأصلي، وهذا مهم جدا خاصة في الفترات الأولى يعني من التكوين الرياضي في أول يعني مسيرته. النموذج الثاني هو النموذج الأسترالي. النموذج الأسترالي يعد النموذج الأسترالي مفتوحا لشريحة أوسع، لشريحة واسعة، وهو نموذج يعني يحدد المسيرة الرياضية كمشروع عام يتمحور حول المشروع الرياضي، ويأخذ كذلك بعين الاعتبار مشروع حياة الرياضي بتوفير يعني كل التأثير الاجتماعي والثقافي والتربوي للرياضي. إذن يتم تحديد الاحتياجات في النموذج الأسترالي الفعالية للرياضي من قبل المدرب المباشر، يعني في علاقة جوهرية بين المدرب واللاعب. المدرب هو يحدد الاحتياجات يعني الضرورية للرياضي، وهذه الاحتياجات يقع إدراجها في برنامج إجرائي، وهذا البرنامج من خلال البرنامج الإجرائي يقع إصدار كل التسهيلات من أجل يعني تحقيق الأهداف المرجوة. إذا ميدانيا يوجد بأستراليا بعض مراكز، كذلك مراكز الموارد التي تقدم الخدمات بعلاقة مع البرنامج الإجرائي من أجل تحقيق الأهداف المرجوة من ناحية رياضية بطبيعة الحال، ومن ناحية التربوية والثقافية والإدماج المهني للرياضي بعد مسيرته الرياضية. يقوم النموذج الأسترالي على العلاقة الجوهرية إذن بين الرياضي والمدرب التي يتحدد من خلالها الحاجات الفعلية للرياضي وخطة متابعته الفردية، فيما يوكل إلى الهياكل المحلية طريق مراكز الأقطاب ومتابعة الرياضيين في أقرب مكان يعني من سكنهم، خاصة في الفترة الأولى كما قلت من مسيرتهم الرياضية. النموذج البريطاني لا يتشكل نموذج المملكة المتحدة في إطار هيكلي واضح، بل يتأسس على مشروع رياضي يستهدف تحقيق الإنجاز الرياضي. والمشروع الرياضي البريطاني يأخذ الرياضي في مستوى معين لما يوصل المستوى العالي في عمر السني مبكر، وهو نموذج يتجه نحو الرياضيين الذين بلغوا